I hit a deer on Sunday.
What the fuck? Who starts a show like that? Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade podcast. I'm Buddy Pulley.
I'm Seth Dolby.
Yeah, I'm gonna interrupt you drinking water, you asshole. This is the off week episode. We struggled really hard to figure out something to talk about last year for the off week, and this year's not much different. But Josh Berry's a Cup driver now, so we obviously got to talk about that, given the ride he's taken, and then also it's basically the halfway point of the year. So we'll go ahead and talk about the playoffs and what is going on in the top of the playoffs and at the bottom of the playoffs. And yeah, the fucking whatever show this is
starts next. Right now.
Tell me about hitting this deer.
All right, so I got sick on Saturday. There's something going around work. And so Sunday rolls around and I'm driving, which is not a great idea. I don't think it had anything to do with hitting the deer, but just needs to be.
Driving definitely had a lot to do with hitting a deer.
Well, yeah, I just mean driving and it not being a great idea. I
think if you're not driving and you make contact with a deer, I think the deer hit you.
Well, if the deer runs into like the side of the vehicle, then the deer hit you for sure. I mean, the deer hit you either way. Like, I'm coming, dude. Fucking look both ways. It's not that hard. But
okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it till it was like basically right there.
Did you nail the damn thing? Like,
I hit it square in the grill because that is the only part of my truck that is fucked.
Wow.
So ultimately, it's fine. I think I'm just going to leave it for now.
What the fuck? It was bound to happen. You live out in the sticks.
Yeah, I see them all the time. I was shocked it hadn't happened sooner, to be completely honest.
It?
I don't know. So, like, the only thing I saw, like I said, I was telling this to somebody else.
Yeah, you even have the common decency to stop, see if you killed the damn thing.
No, I wanted to go home. I was hungry, to be honest.
Wow. Y'all ever want, like, fucking whatever? What did you go home and eat? Wendy's?
Subway.
Yeah. Y'all ever want Subway so bad you like, fuck that deer's life I just probably took. I'm hungry.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. What was I going to do for it if it wasn't dead?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's okay, little guy.
Go ahead, deer. Jump out in front of my truck. I don't want to eat my sandwich ever.
No, I mean, like, I didn't hit the brake.
You said full bore, like.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't really see it till I was like right on it. And then I was telling this to someone today, like, anytime I can tell I'm about to hit something in a vehicle, everything kind of slows down and I get a full, like, Ricky Bobby moment. Like, yep, I'm going to hit it. And then I do. And then I don't really know what happens to it afterward. Like, I looked in the mirror. I didn't see it. I think I punted it, though. Slightly.
So you got one. I'm going to give you confirmed kill. I guess it's not confirmed. Alleged kill.
There was barely any blood on the truck. There was like a small streak of blood.
My buddy Pat, he hit about 3 deer within about a year in like his Hyundai Sonata. He hit one, scared the shit out of him. He hit the other one. He's like, shook him up a little bit. He sees he's about to hit the third one. He's like, come on, man. no reaction to it. And then, wouldn't you believe it? What's his name? He was a developmental driver for Gibbs. What the fuck was his name? He drove the damn, what that Italian restaurant. You ain't got a clue who.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
What's his name? Brad Coleman. Brad Coleman. He drove that damn that Gibbs development car with the Italian restaurant, but he was testing the 96 DLP car. And I think it was in Memphis. I want to say it was in Memphis. Maybe it was somebody else. He hit a coyote.
Shit.
If you ever want some like real like stomach turning pictures, go look at that. There's pictures of that coyote all tore up, like it'd been in a meat grinder. in the grill of the car. I'm really glad this is how we're starting this show because
I remember one time my mom hit a bird and it got stuck in the grill. And she was at work and she went and got like one of the doctors. She's like, "Can you pull this bird out of my grill? It's terrifying."
I found a dead hummingbird at Hendrick Motorsports one time.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a dead hummingbird. That's interesting.
I think that's a common occurrence. You know, there's a dude, he was leading Daytona 500 one year. He hit a damn seagull.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often.
It was Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. But I mean, Randy Johnson hit a bird with a fastball one time. So,
wow.
Have you not seen that clip?
No,
dude, look that shit up. Randy Johnson hits bird.
Man, I got way other. Man, I was listening to the podcast with Tim Brewer earlier. That's way more interesting than watching a bird get hit with a baseball.
It's pretty cool though. He obliterates this bird.
Wow,
it was like a 99 mile an hour fastball.
You are not an animal conservationist by any
No, I
means.
mean, I'm not advocating for hitting birds with fastballs. I'm just saying if it was to happen, that it's cool when it does happen naturally.
So anyway, the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yeah, playoffs. Go ahead and talk about this. The top 7 in points are within 32 points of each other. You got Truex in the lead, Byron 13 behind him, Blaney 24, Ross Chastain 24, Harvick 25, Kyle Busch 29, Bell 32 behind. First of all, how cool would it be if we had the old point system?
I don't know how, as in the full season or the actual 185, 175.
No, the full season with this. I mean, it
looks like Byron's about to run away with it though. He would be if he hadn't had the penalty. Which I mean,
he had the penalty.
He did.
Exactly.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
It's looking like
the points lead, the regular season points lead has changed 3 times over the past 3 weeks. 3 different drivers have led it. Blaney, Truex, Byron, they've all led it the past 3 weeks. Chastain was in the lead, forever until Justin Marks gave him a damn vasectomy or whatever he did.
Poor Blaney would still be right there if he hadn't got wrecked twice in the last 5 laps at Sonoma.
I mean, well, get out the damn way. Harvick, swan song season, sitting 5th in points, 25 points out. This is the worst he's been in points pretty much all year.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch, obviously. Christopher Bell made the Final 4 last year. And even the top 10 are only separated by 85 points.
Yeah.
It is going to be a hell of a battle for this regular season title. And there's a lot of guys. I mean, Byron's really the only one. Well, and he doesn't even have that many playoff points because of the penalty, right?
Yeah, they lost what, 5 playoff points due to the penalty?
I
think that's what it was because he and Truex, I think, had the same.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up where the playoff points at. Playoff points. Okay, here we go. Stage. Yeah, Byron's won 7 stages, so he's kind of running with that. Chastain's won 5, but everybody else, I mean, Truex has got the 2 wins, but everybody else is kind of right there in the same boat. So, I don't know, man.
Kind of surprising Truex only has 1 stage win. But, yeah, I don't know.
Wait, that is surprising.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, Sonoma, we didn't have we had the thing and whatever. I don't know. My money's on Byron, as much as I hate to admit it. I think Byron's probably the strongest candidate right now. Truex probably is going to give him a run for his money. I just don't, unless Chastain, they really hit a reset button. I don't see him getting up there. Harvick, they just don't have the speed. And then I don't really see Bell and Kyle Busch coming from behind. Especially I don't see the speed out of Bell. And then Kyle Busch is about as inconsistent as I can't say what I was going to say.
The interesting thing about Kyle Busch, though, is that despite being as inconsistent as they have, they're 29 out. Like,
yeah,
they wouldn't even have to turn it around that much to kind of put that dent away and make
Well, and you got
themselves
to
a
think we're
contender
going to a
here.
bunch of wild card tracks. I mean, Atlanta's here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. Chicago is in 2 weeks. And then you got Watkins Glen. You still got a Daytona left. Like you got the Indy Road Course. Like half the field's going to wreck in turn one there. So I mean, it really could shake up quite a bit here in the next few weeks. And I mean, Kyle Larson's definitely not out of it. They can find some consistency. Denny Hamlin as well. I mean, if those two can find consistency, they'll be back up in it. So I don't know. It's gonna be
They could stop
interesting.
wrecking every week. Both of them, if they could stop wrecking every week, the both of them really
winning or wrecking. Yeah.
It's like.
Now we look at the cut line down here. We got Keselowski and Bubba, or Keselowski's 96 above the cut line. Not too worried about that. Bubba's 26 above. Bowman's only 3 above. And then you get down here, Suarez -3, Ty Gibbs -11, Michael McDowell -14, AJ Allmendinger -33, Cindric -39, Corey LaJoy only -40, Justin Haley 47. You got what? How many guys I just rattle off there? 4 guys within a race worth of points of the playoffs. Mind you, it's Justin Haley, Corey LaJoy, Michael McDowell, Ty Gibbs, AJ. Like these are guys that like I didn't have on my bingo card as being in playoff contention on merit.
No,
by any means. I mean, Suarez obviously they've been awful. And then Bowman's missed 3 races and he's still above them all. I don't know if this speaks to how competitive the Cup Series is or how awful everybody's been, because everybody's kind of been awful this year.
Like, yeah, it kind of feels that way.
I mean, if you haven't been awful, you've had points penalties or, you
wreck every week.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah. I don't know. It's McDowell. I think that's the guy you got to keep an eye on. McDowell and Allmendinger, honestly. Because, I mean, it all depends on if we see a new winner, which probably will. But if we don't, I mean, these guys are not too far about pointing their way in. They've got some good tracks coming up for them. We got, 3 road courses coming up? Yeah, 3. Yeah, Indy, 3. Chicago, and Watkins Glen. Yep. So
I just want to give a quick shout out to the myth, the hunk, Todd Gilliland. He's right up there with Justin Haley, and he's ahead of Ryan Preece.
How many points is he out?
He is 52 out in 24th.
Wow. Holy shit.
Splitting time between the 38 and the 51. Like, just give a call.
Yeah.
Dude's been great this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a race worth a point. I mean, that's the thing you get to talking about. I think this regular season standings, I think that will fluctuate more just because I think it's more of a stark difference in the level of performance you could have. Like if you have a problem, you could go from top 5 to 30th. Whereas these aren't guys that are winning or contending for wins every week. So I think it gets a lot harder to gain points down below the cut line.
I don't think anyone below McDowell is looking at pointing in.
No, I don't think so either. And I even be hard pressed to say McDowell's thinking about pointing his way in, because I mean McDowell's he doesn't have the speed to outdo Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, like Alex Bowman. He's not going to do that on a consistent basis. I think he knows that they have the speed to where they could win on a road course, and I think that's probably the play for them.
Yeah, it's true. But overall, compared to a lot of even bigger teams, like they've executed so well this year because they're always in that. They're always in back half of the top 10, 15th, something like that, and they don't throw it away like a lot of other teams do. So
this team's been building.
It's they've been really building. I mean, the whole front row team in general, whoever's been
Yeah.
driving the 38
Yeah.
car has been great.
And if rumors ring true, they're about to get a whole hell of a lot more support. Yeah. But no, I mean Ty Gibbs, I think if I'm Daniel Suarez, I'm looking at a win.
Yeah.
Like, because I think Ty Gibbs, if they can keep on the trajectory they've been going, they've been a lot quicker lately. I think Ty's going to probably overtake the 99. Even Bowman, I'd be looking at a win. I mean, all these guys, you're looking at a win to get in. But I mean, because you got guys like Chase Elliott, obviously is 50th in points. So I mean, and all he's got to do is win a race and he's in. So I feel like you almost got to assume if you're in this picture, you're probably gonna have to win. But is a dogfight between the 4, 5, 6 of them until that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you got 3 road courses coming up and Allmendinger and Elliott are below the cut line, that's not going to make anyone feel very good about it. Obviously, there's 2 super speedways, which who the fuck even knows anymore? I guess Atlanta is less of a wild card. I don't know.
Boy's licking his chops.
Yeah, but I wonder how the teams are looking at Atlanta nowadays, because we've seen through the 3 Atlanta races that they've all been like they're super speedway races, but guys dominate and they win from big house teams and dominating passion.
Well, I think it's this era of super speedway racing we're in. Like, I mean, where it's track position's key, and all out speed and qualifying, it's going to be the top teams, so it only makes sense. But you do have the guys like Corey LaJoie, obviously he's been up there, and then Eric Jones is quick on super speedways, guys like that you still have the bit of a wild card in there. But yeah, I agreed, it's not as much as a wild card as everybody maybe chalks it up to be.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the only true wild card, as in like anybody can win the race at a super speedway right now, is Daytona. Which obviously we have a Daytona race coming, so that keep that in mind.
So there's something I'm talking about earlier this week is tracks that kind of need a facelift. I've been pondering this ever since Wilkesboro, really, when we saw how they were able to get kind of the perfect balance of that old school grassroots feel, but also have the amenities and the experience of like what a new school fan would want. And Martinsville comes to mind as a glaring example of like a track that needs some help. I mean, because we go there every year, and it's probably my least favorite track to go to. Like, as far as like the racing, obviously has been great. It's not great right now, but it's one, they screw you up with the date for sure, which that's not Martinsville's fault. But 2, man, you look at places like, like a Daytona or like a Phoenix that, have gotten these millions of dollars poured into them by NASCAR. And then you have Martinsville. It's the penultimate race of the schedule. It's one of the most important races there. And just as a fan perspective, it being a short track on the schedule and just how important it is to the sport. But yet you got to wait an hour and a half for, a damn hot dog. You're going to miss half the damn race. These world famous hot dogs they got. And, it feels like you're going to like Florence Speedway when you go to Martinsville.
like kind of torn though, because that's kind of the charm. And I mean, I get not liking it, but it's also like, I don't know.
Security there's terrible too.
Security can suck it at Martinsville. Like,
Worst security in the sport. Like, I mean, just there's not much to it, which is fine, but it is a very important racetrack on the schedule. It's a very important race on the schedule. And it just, you don't get that feeling just because there's not a whole lot to offer from Martinsville.
I just want better bathrooms in turn 3 and 4. That's all I want.
Bathrooms are bad. Like, just, I don't know. I feel like this was something I've, just been thinking about. And I think Darlington's another one. I think Darlington could be the championship race. It's never going to happen because of where it is. No one's, they want it in a marquee city. But I mean, I think if you sprucing up Darlington, I mean, that's the thing. You wouldn't have to sink that much money into it. Seeing more and more nicer facilities makes me look at some of these tracks a little bit different. Like, yeah, okay, this is cup. This is cup shit. Like, I would like to see a little bit more out of, like, just NASCAR in general as far as these places. Like, I don't know.
The big thing for me is the newer facilities have seats that don't destroy you. Like, that's the big thing for me when I go to a Darlington or Martinsville, is just sitting on a fucking bench for 4 hours. It's super uncomfortable. Like, just genuinely, like, by the end of the race, like and then a lot of times has nothing to do with the track, but by the end of the race, some people won't even stand up for like the restart. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You're not hurting?
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't get that. But yeah, like the seats at Daytona, I don't think about them because they're pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Wilkesboro.
Wilkesboro's hurt.
If we are comparing, yeah, Wilkesboro's pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have much basis beyond this argument. I'll work on it more late at a later date. But it was just something I wanted to bring up just because it's been on my mind the past couple of weeks.
But you can make the hot dog situation for yourself better. You just go before the race and get 10 of them.
The damn lines before the damn race are damn near just as long.
I got in and out really okay.
Yeah, and you also have one gate to get in too. Basically, I guess there's two gates to get in. Like
2 now,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
at least y'all got like 6 lines on the front stretch, and turn 3 and 4 we got 2 lines going through one gate. Sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. There is, like you said, there's a little bit of charm to it, but it just, looking at some tracks, they just need a little facelift. Little facelift is all I'm asking. Yeah. Rant, not really rant, but long-winded thought over about Martinsville. We'll revisit this at a later date. Also, I think I have a gripe with Martinsville because I go there and no one I like ever does anything worth a shit there. Like, Harvick always runs 15th. Like, so
I don't have that problem anymore, apparently.
And we don't even have a night race there anymore, so that's kind of lame.
Yeah, that'll be the last thing I want to say about Martinsville. We had the perfect race date for that. The perfect date.
Yeah.
Mother's Day weekend, 2020.
Got rid of it for whatever reason.
Didn't even run it.
Didn't even run it, yeah.
So that's probably my biggest gripe is we had the perfect race date and we said, nah.
Yeah. I'll never understand that because Darlington's hotter than fucking hell. So we could have put that in April. It would have been just fine.
Yep.
Now, something that I do have a lot to talk about. obviously the worst kept secret in the garage. Josh Berry is going to the 4-car, replacing Kevin Harvick next year. Seth, your initial thoughts about Josh Berry?
Pretty cool to see in this day and age. Like just the whole 30 whatever rookie. It's pretty cool to see these days.
Yeah. Now, to preface this, there was rumor going around. We'll handle this the speculation and all that fun stuff first. There's rumor going around like Reddit and Twitter and it's some
Couch Racer.
Yeah. Plenty of sources out there that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be buying in some sort of way into Stewart-Haas. They were switching to Chevy. Harrison Burton was going to the 10. And there's this whole, rumor, and it very well could still be possible. And the prospect of that is quite interesting. I think it's kind of almost coincidental though that Josh Berry, that if this were to happen, that Josh Berry ends up back with Junior. I think it was almost coincidental. I think they were kind of feeling this out beforehand, but there were a lot of things that were said in the press conference today when they announced Josh that kind of make me think this is still in the works.
Yeah, it might not be this coming year, but yeah, Tony Stewart sounded incredibly.
I still think it could be this year.
Could be. They'd have to buy out their contract with Ford or whatever. I don't know how that would work, but
I don't think it. I don't know because so it would be obviously huge if Dale Earnhardt Jr. were to own a Cup team. Everybody, it'd be huge for the sport if he were to do it. And one joining forces with Tony Stewart or buying him out. I don't know. It's like I said, it's all speculative at this point. But it would switch Stewart-Haas to Chevrolet, which makes sense because Chevrolet just lost a team in Legacy Motor Club. It'd be interesting to see if it would make them a key partner, what that does to Ford teams. Like I said, Front Row Racing could be, kind of get an uptick in support for Ford. But some of these things that were said in the meeting, like Ford had no involvement in Josh Berry getting the 4-car. That was something of note. Like Greg Zipadelli was very bullish about that. Yeah, Ford had nothing to do with it. Okay, cool. And then I just noticed there's a lot of Dale Jr. talk. Obviously, Josh Berry coming from Junior Motorsports, Dale Jr. has done everything for Josh Berry's career. But it was a lot of Junior Kevin Tony, Junior Kevin Tony, Junior Kevin Tony. That's all I kept hearing all day long. I was like, this just sounds a little bit sus. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But
yeah, I'm not gonna get too excited about the prospect until it happens. But I don't know. Tony doesn't sound very committed to Ford based off what I read.
Yeah, they suck.
Well, yeah, but just for him to be saying it and sound, not that he said I'm not committed to Ford, but just the way he was saying it, like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I love the idea of Tony and Dale being race team owners together. So yeah. I hope he doesn't buy out Tony if that does happen. I hope they're in it together. I think it'd be awesome.
I don't know. I think getting into Josh, I think is almost lit a fire under Tony because, yeah, it did seem like Tony Stewart was it seemed like he'd almost kind of become an absentee car owner in a sense because, and I think that could be, we've said it before, that could be part of the root of the issues with Stewart-Haas Racing is the fact that you have Gene Haas, who's never there. He's dealing with F1, and his company and whatever. And then Tony Stewart is off. He's got a sprint car team. He's got SRX. He's got, obviously the drag racing team that he's racing in now. So it's like you almost want to believe
All-Stars series.
yeah, it's dirt stuff. Yeah. And it's almost like he's stretched too thin. And I think it's shown in the lack of performance out of Stewart Haas Racing. Now, obviously Kevin Harvick retiring, a lot of big shoes to fill, but it almost seems like the perfect switch, the perfect driver to put in this position. I mean, because late model, he obviously we now know Josh Berry came from late models. Rodney Childers, he grew up racing late models. Those two, they're already friends. Rodney's been a huge advocate for Josh, and I think there's a lot of parallels with Kevin too, because you have obviously Kevin. We know the situation with him. He was thrown into the seat after Dale Earnhardt died. And I feel like Josh was also thrown into the seat when Chase Elliott got hurt and Alex Bowman, got hurt. And he had to perform under similar circumstances. And, he did the job, or as well as you could do in this day and age of cup racing. And Tony Stewart said in the press conference, he did it and it was on someone else's dime. But yeah, I mean, like you said, with the driver in their 30s, and I think there might be a shift in this. Like Ryan Preece is another guy. Like he kind of got this second opportunity. He's in his late 20s or whatever. I think we could be seeing a shift where these older and more experienced drivers could be, getting some of these rides over guys that are still wet behind the ears, Like, I mean, it seems like Toyota's the only ones pumping drivers through the pipeline that are real young and up and coming time. I mean, we got some Chevy guys that obviously, but not as many as they're used to out of them or out of like Ford.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be like the norm, but
no, I don't think it will be, but I think like I think that I don't know. There were a lot of good points brought up today. I mean, Josh, he's been racing forever, right? In late models, he knows how to build a team. He's kind of built up that whole, Junior Motorsports late model program, and then obviously, he's 30, 2 years old. So, I mean, he's gone through the growing pains. He's gone through the maturing process already. Like, he's got a wife and kids. Like, so I think it makes a lot of sense that this would be the route they go down. I mean, I think that's what they need. They don't need another young driver at Stewart Haas Racing because it hasn't been working. Nothing's really been working over there. And he's got cup experience and not just, he wasn't running for Spire. He was running for, top tier equipment at Hendricks. So, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Josh right now, though, too. I mean, with anything comes with pressure.
I mean, definitely. I mean, you're going into the flagship car with the best crew chief, so there's going to be some serious expectations. I don't know if that's fair, but I mean, Rodney hasn't even worked with anybody else in the past 9 years, so it's going to take him a while to get used to it too, I would imagine.
Yeah. And you brought a good point, taking over the flagship car. And it's almost seemed like maybe it's just today, the announcement finally came out. It almost seems like they've already like kind of pinned Josh as the flagship driver over there too. Yeah. Which is interesting, but it makes sense because Eric Almirola is probably retiring. Maybe not. I don't know. He's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
But Ryan Preece is Ryan Preece. He's all about Ryan Preece and not really about much else. Chase Briscoe is immature and just he's not a leader by any stretch of the imagination. And so it's interesting. It just goes back to that point. Josh is just more experienced overall in life than a lot of these guys. And I think I think the thing he's least experienced in is top tier, like or in the racing in the top 3 levels of NASCAR. So I don't know. It's a near impossible task to fill the shoes of like Kevin Harvick, but like he's kind of the guy to do it. He kind of I don't know. He reminds me a lot of Kevin Harvick in that sense. He, kind of came up, made his own way on his own, and I mean, he grinded it out, dude, and that's what that whole team's all about.
Yeah, I think the funny thing to me is that as far as a hire goes, he's kind of like he seems like he fits the mold perfectly for the kind of driver that Stewart Haas would hire. Like outside of like Briscoe, who came through their pipeline and did that, they usually go out and try and hire someone with a good bit of experience who's a little older. And despite not having the Cup experience, Josh Berry fits that mold perfectly. So yeah, I think that's kind of funny. And I don't know. I have a hard time. I don't want to get too ahead of anything because I feel like Josh Berry could totally bust as a Cup driver. I hope not, but I could definitely see it happening. I don't know. All the Josh Berry, like,
anybody could bust it. I mean,
I know. I'm saying I feel like the likelihood is higher than maybe we're giving it credit for. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as high on Josh.
What a terrible take. I mean,
what makes you think? Okay, no, hang on. What do you think he's gonna like? What do you think his ceiling is? You think Cup title is his ceiling?
I mean, I don't think you could predict a Cup title for just about anyone with nowadays, especially
okay. Cup title worthy season. Put it that way.
I mean, yeah, I don't maybe not A+ driver, but an A driver. I think for sure. Like, yeah, I don't know. He just, yeah. I mean, I think he's one of the. I think honestly, he's more underrated than a lot of people give him credit for. As far as like, just he might not have the wins, but he's got the racecraft that I think a lot of people, don't give him a lot of credit for. Now, everybody in the Cup Series, for the most part, has a lot of racecraft, but I think that's kind of what I was talking about with comparing him to Kevin, is his racing IQ, I feel like, is higher than some people, and I think that could make up for I think that'll, like it does with Kevin, make up for the lack of equipment, but then also make up for maybe the lack of raw speed that you see out of like a Kyle Larson or, Christopher Bell or somebody like that. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like you look at it, no one's asking why Josh Berry. No one's asking why did you pick him as your driver. And smarter people than me believe a whole hell of a lot, put a whole hell of a lot behind him. So, I mean, why not?
I'm not saying I don't like the hire, and I'm not saying I'm not happy for Josh Berry. I just feel like a lot of the discourse has kind of gotten ahead of itself. It just seems because in the sense that since he's been a junior motorsports Xfinity driver, he hasn't been like leagues above the best driver in that stable at any point or in the series at any point. I understand it's only been 2 1/3 seasons, but
hasn't even been that. It's been a season and
by the end of this season, by the end of this season, it'll be 2 1/3. I don't know. I understand the sample size is small, but again, the sample size is small for what he has done, which has been really good. Nothing against it. I don't know. I just don't want to jump the gun on it. I don't want to be part of putting a lot of expectations on Josh Berry going into a Stuart Haas car in
I'm not trying to
2024.
put any expectations on him. I'm just saying this is a great opportunity for him because he's getting put with the crew chief who it should fit him perfectly, that he already has chemistry with. He's moving into a team that kind of has the same belief system as him. He's replacing a driver that is similar to him. And it makes a lot of sense that he could step in and succeed. And so I don't know. I think I think it's a better opportunity than a lot of people are giving him credit for. Because I think a lot of people are saying, obviously Stuart Haas is doing terrible right now, but I think a lot of people are thinking he's going to fall into that Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Eric Almirola level. I don't think that's the case. I think that team is built up enough, and I think you can plug Josh in, and no way he's going to do as good as Kevin, but at first. But I think I think he'll be better than the other three. I think he has the potential to be quite a bit better than the other three.
I mean, I think it pretty much instantaneously as soon as he gets there, he's the best driver at Stuart Haas.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's a very high bar, but it's also, yeah, they might not fall off. There's a possibility that the Ford team just picks up where they left off.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, because I think there's definitely going to be growing pains, but then also I feel like Kevin Harvick obviously has lost a little bit in the past couple of years. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. I think overall though, you talk about pressure. There's a lot of pressure on him. And I think a lot of it probably comes from NASCAR too. Because you got to think about it like this. This is the first weekly series champion. I read this stat earlier. First weekly series champion to go full-time in Cup since the 80s. And this is a huge win for NASCAR and any short track racer out there. And just a good boost for the sport because it proves that guys can still get there on merit. And if he doesn't succeed, it kind of diminishes the value that accomplishment is. And so I think I feel like it's a lot of pressure on him from the sport in general to perform and do well in the Cup Series because it would be huge. And I think it's a shift in, I think he's a perfect example of what the charter system wants to be. And I think there's a shift in the way you go about finding drivers. Ross Chastain's another good example too, that they don't bring funding, they don't bring any sort of sponsorship. They're good, hard racers that deserved a shot and got it. And I think love or hate Ross Chastain, good for the sport if he does well because he got there on solely just merit. And Josh Berry, much of the same. I think a little bit more likable of a guy, and his story has been more well told, obviously being with Junior Motorsports. But I mean, 3 years ago, he was content with being a late model driver the rest of his life, and now he's replacing Kevin Harvick.
Yeah. I assume you listened to it, the Dale Jr. download episode today with Josh. If anyone hasn't, definitely listen to it. You can see or you can hear just the absolute level that Dale Jr. cares for Josh Berry. It's really heartwarming, to be completely honest with you. I mean, it wouldn't have happened without that, because Dale's like, you are our guy.
Yeah.
we were gonna do everything we can to get you moved up here.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, that took a lot from Josh too, because like, I mean, you got to think about it. He's been there since like I think 2011, and he just got an Xfinity ride 2 years ago.
Yeah,
like I mean, so all those years, 10 years at that point, and it's like you lose hope. I mean, you lose hope that you're ever going to make it, and I'm sure there were a lot of nights. I mean, he said it that he was content with being a late model driver, and that was all he's going to be. And it's just there's that meme going around 2020 to 2023, and I mean, Josh is the perfect example of it. I mean, of what you can do. Don't quit.
Yep. Just
don't quit at whatever you do. Except for like a shitty job that doesn't pay you well. Quit that. But like don't
make a scene
quit.
and quit.
Yeah, make a huge scene and quit, please. But yeah, no, I mean just anything. It's just an inspirational story that NASCAR can't afford for it to fail.
Yeah.
So
well said.
Yeah. Other than that though, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I really had on that whole deal.
Yeah, same. I don't got anything.
Yeah. Kevin Harvick also did mention, I had this written down, that that there's a lot going on behind the scenes at Stewart-Haas, going back to the whole Dale Jr. aspect of it. Because someone asked if he would have an administration role, and he said, I don't know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And I was like, like what?
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Other than that, we don't have a sundressing dumbass, do we?
Sundress is Josh Berry. Dumbass is Jeffrey Earnhardt again.
All right, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
We did picks last week. Yeah, we did
picks.
Right?
I don't remember who the hell I picked for Nashville. I picked Ricky Stenhouse. That's who I picked.
Wait, hang on. I might have it written down. Who did I pick? Nope, I didn't write it down.
Oh, nice.
All right,
well, go back and listen to the last episode and figure out who to pick. Thank you for listening to our long-winded midweek episode. And we'll see you after Nashville.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. And then we're going to Chicago.
Yes.
Wait, hold up. Yeah, we are going to Chicago. How fucking cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. You're not nearly as excited. That's fine.
I am exhausted.
All right, well, get the fuck out of here. You two listeners, go fuck yourself.